Once upon a time, not really so very long ago, something happened in this one little town that, especially on days like this one, now sounds just about impossible. Something happened in the remote Nebraska sandhills, in a place few people today ever pass through. Something happened that has been all but forgotten. What happened in that town speaks of an America that we once truly had, or at least that our parents did, and their parents before them. We're always talking about what it is that we want the country to become, about how we can save ourselves as a people. And we speak as if the elusive answer is out there in the mists, off in the indeterminate future, waiting to be magically discovered like a new constellation and plucked from the surrounding stars. Chapter 2. North Platte, Nebraska, is about as isolated as a small town can conceivably be. It's in the middle of the country, alone out on the plains. It's hours by car, even from the cities of Omaha and Lincoln. Few people venture there unless they live there or have family there. But before the air age, the Union Pacific Railroad's main line ran right through North Platte. In 1941, the town had little more than 12,000 residents. When World War II began, with young men being transported across the American continent to both coasts before being shipped out to Europe and the Pacific, those Union Pacific cars carried a most precious cargo, the boys of the United States on their way to battle. The trains rolled into North Platte day and night. A local resident, or so I had heard, came up with an idea. Why not meet the trains coming through to offer the servicemen a little affection and support? Soldiers were out there on the empty expanses of Midwestern prairie, filled with thoughts of loneliness and fear. Why not try to provide them with warmth and the feeling of being loved? On Christmas Day, 1941, it began. A troop train rolled in, and the surprised soldiers on board were greeted by North Platte residents with welcoming words, heartfelt smiles, and baskets of food and treats. What happened in the years that followed was nothing short of amazing, some would say a miracle. The railroad depot on Front Street was turned into the North Platte Canteen. Every day of the year from 5 a.m. until the last troop train of the night had passed through, after midnight, the canteen was open. The troop trains were scheduled to stop in North Platte for only 10 minutes at a time before resuming their journey. The people of North Platte made those 10 minutes count. Gradually, word of what was happening in North Platte spread from serviceman to serviceman during the war, and on the long train rides across the country the soldiers came to know that out there on the Nebraska flatlands, the North Platte Canteen was waiting for them. Each day of the war, every day of the war, an average of 3,000 to 5,000 military personnel came through North Platte and were welcomed to the canteen. Toward the end of the war, that number grew to 8,000 a day, on as many as 23 separate troop trains. Many of the soldiers were really just teenagers. This was their first time away from home, the first time away from their families. On the troop trains, they were lonesome and far from everything familiar, and they knew that some of them might never come back from the war, might never see their country again. And then, when they likely felt that they were out in the middle of nowhere, they rolled into a train station and were greeted day and night by men, women, and children who were telling them thank you, were telling them that their country cared about them. The numbers are almost enough to make you cry. Remember, only 12,000 people lived in that secluded town. But during the war, 6 million soldiers passed through North Platte and were greeted at the train station that had been turned into a canteen. This was not something orchestrated by the government. This was not paid for with public money. All the food, all the services, all